You're live.
All right, good morning. It's 10:33, and this is the North Whatcom Fire District 21 regular Board of Commissioners meeting. I will call the meeting to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. I'm Bruce Ansell.
Kimberly McMurray.
Matt Rayburn.
John Crawford.
Scott Fisher.
Jason Vanderveen, Fire Chief.
Is the Fire Marshal going to be here today?
He knows about the meeting. I did not check in with him prior to.
Okay, he's on the agenda.
I'll send him a text here.
All right, so any public comment?
No.
We will open the volunteer pension board meeting. And we have the approval of the June 20th, 2024 minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thanks. Chief, anything else for the volunteer pension board?
Sir.
Okay, I close the adjourn the volunteer pension board meeting and open the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. And note that Fire Marshal Nielsen has joined us. Thank you. I just saw you had a place on our agenda, so I just wanted to make sure we were good there. The consent agenda is our first item. It has the meeting minutes from June 20th, staff reports, financial reports, and vouchers. The revenue for June was $147,175.78. The expenditures for July was $1,102,583.15. What put us up there? What?
There's a number of things. The L&I second quarter voucher is $102,000. There were some capital expenditures which equaled about $60,000. Capital projects and then a facilities one, and then there was something in the monthly expenditure voucher that I had on the tip of my tongue. Let me find it real quick. Our actual, yes, if I can see those. Our actual recurring expenses were like $89,000, or sorry, $89,000. It was a low month, but it's the off payments. Yes. Let me find it here. Paid for the ambulance audit, the required ambulance audit, $35,000, which was approved in the budget last year. So that's an additional, that's that big additional expense I was talking about. So it's not GEMT, it's the GDAC. It's an audit of the GEMT program.
Okay.
Which is, it's optional. You just exclude yourself from the GEMT program ever again if you don't do it. So it's completely voluntary.
If you want to participate.
And as we discussed in the fall, the workload, based on the workload in the office,
Right.
that was a very data intensive.
Right.
It's like GEMT plus type
Right.
work. And so I had asked the board at that time, just for staff sanity's sake, if we could please use the highest tier of assistance from the public consulting group, which is who we use for the GEMT, to help us compile, compress, and submit the data. So.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
The vouchers, we'll read into the record. Direct deposit payroll was $451,562.73. Payroll taxes, $109,678.59. Benefits voucher, $266,983.21. L&I second quarter voucher, $120,546.17. Monthly expenditure voucher, $118,923.90. Capital projects, $19,800.02. And capital project facilities, $15,088.03. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Any discussion? Chief?
I have a question. With the payment for the services that we had compiling the data, did they set us up for future success with reduced expenses for the same audit?
We now have the reports that we need to pull that data built.
Okay, so they did.
So yes,
Excellent.
they didn't do all the work for. I would say they didn't do all the work for Jenny, but they gave her detailed instructions on how to build the reports, and then we use some other resources we have at no cost to the district to actually build those reports so we can pull the data out of our records management system to be able to. So I don't believe in the future we'll see when we get audited again. This audit is a brand new thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of departments are kind of there's a lot of uncertainty about it. My hope is that maybe we could, if we had some additional staff in the office and the workload was a little bit less, I bet we could probably drop the tier of assistance down to a much less. It's the next tier of assistance down is more than half again less of what we paid.
But we have some sort of template in.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Thanks, Jenny.
Yes, thank Jenny.
The group effort.
Chief, you in your report have something about the tender purchase. It's in the consent agenda, so you want to talk about that now or
Sure.
under new business?
I can talk about it now. So we're all aware of our struggles to get tenders. We are taking delivery of an engine that we ordered in 2022 here this next month. But the tender saga continued, for lack of a better word. It was blamed on COVID, post-COVID slowdowns, all the things. And during a meeting that we had late last year, I expressed some frustration with the timeline, the continual pushback of the timeline, and put out the question, well, if we can find chassis, would that speed things up? And they said, sure. So we found chassis. It took some time to make sure that I didn't understand quite the engineering complexity that goes into finding a chassis. But once we made sure that all the drill holes and the electronics were in the right spot, we met with Pepe, a local vendor for Kenworth. And within about an hour had an order and a delivery date for chassis of about 60 days. We could have got them basically September 1st. We could have delivered the chassis to the apparatus manufacturer, at which point they said, oh, well, we can build them in 2026, maybe. Another 2 years out. And so we had a pre-build meeting, and that didn't go very well. And then after talking with our mechanic and looking at the state of our tenders and the age of our tenders, and I felt that it was time to sink that deal. So I reached out to the manufacturer, met with the rep, and said that we'd like our money back. We prepaid for these. You failed to meet the performance bond that we purchased, which says right here, delivery of 2 Kenworth Star, or not Kenworth, sorry, Freightliner, not even the same chassis, tenders in 2024 with 2024 model bodies. And I said, we're done. And they agreed that probably taking a step back was a good idea. And so we are now in the search for some tenders we can get a little bit quicker. We're looking at smaller companies. We'll have to go through a bid process is my expectation. We're looking at a company called Westmark out of California, and then a couple other smaller companies. We did ask for a quote from Hughes Fire Apparatus, which is Pierce, and they're quite expensive. We're not ready to buy used yet. I think that's buying potentially somebody else's problem, and we have enough maintenance problems as it is. I don't want to add to the pile, but we just couldn't. When I think of the amount of money that we gave them to complete a project in 2020, in 2022, we gave them a lump sum of funds. They've been accruing interest on those funds since 2022, and to push the build date back another 24 to 30 months after doing exactly what they asked, us doing the work, Ryan actually, the shop mechanic, doing the work of sourcing these bodies, these chassis, and going through all the engineering legwork to get them matched up. It felt like a slap in the face, and like they don't care about our business, and they just they're not the only manufacturer. So apologize if it was outside of my purview to dismiss get rid of that contract, but it's not good business. It doesn't seem like good business at all. And I don't want to be part of that. It's just been continual delays and conflict with this group for the last 24 months.
And this, if correct me if I'm wrong, was the group we met with who said there was some issue with the sales rep and that we were going to go to the front of the line, or was that the?
Yes.
So they promised to say, we're sorry, we really messed up, we're going to do you right, never came through.
It did for the engine, but we couldn't extend that to the next purchase.
All right.
So
Fair enough.
I feel like they got more than 3 swings, and I just, frankly, I feel like they were starting to make me look like a fool to my troops and to the board. So it wasn't an emotional decision. It was a business decision, but we've got to move forward. We've got to have tenders, and I can't keep waiting. The tender group can't keep waiting. Our equipment can't keep waiting. So.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yep.
We did have a motion, right?
There was no second.
Been moved and seconded. We've had some discussion already. Anyone else have any questions, comments, or discussion for the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Commissioner meeting reports. Who has any reports?
I have a call out to Holly. I was hoping to be able to brief on that, but I could not. I didn't get a response yet, so once I get that, I will be able to provide a update on that.
I reached out to the Nook Center track, and I'm on kind of a full pattern for them to talk to them about getting a GSA. Sit down and do some talks.
Just keep talking to all my rural people about the Levy River.
Awesome.
There is a significant amount of chatter, I'm sure Jenny sees it as well on social media, about positive support for the levee lid lift. It's localized to this area. I haven't seen anything outside of the area, but I actually haven't seen anything really negative about it.
We had a meeting with Liz Loomis, just cranking on. The information went out for all of our meetings to the newspapers. We had good coverage in Cascadia and the Northern Lights. There was KGMI interview with the chief that was posted on social media. We've had outreach meetings with Birch Bay Village. We had about 10 or so people there. Last night we had the Blaine Senior Center, which had probably double that. So it was nice, and I thank Pete Nelson from the Senior Center for advertising and promoting and welcoming our commissioners. And then we have more to come. We have the Station 61 meeting, we have the Station 63 meeting, and then we have the Laurel Grange meeting coming up. So I think overall we've had a lot more public interaction this time than we've had in the past. We've not had any opposition, a lot of questions. People are learning how fire districts are funded, and I think it's quite surprising to most people that we have that 1% restriction. It seems to be resonating well. It's going to be the whole voter turnout piece, although we don't have to validate the election, we just need a good turnout to pass. Local report.
Good morning. Yeah, kind of the biggest thing obviously is the levy. So I want to give a huge shout out to PAC Chair Balillo. He's put this whole spreadsheet together, app, everything for doorbelling. We've been getting quite a few people out there doorbelling, getting a lot of good feedback. So been canvassing a lot of the areas based on the IFF's reports of voters and what types of voters to target. So just plugging away at that. Sounds like the new recruits graduate at the end of the month, so that'll be nice having them on the floor. And just thanks to everyone who's picking up all the open shifts and overtime. Busy season, so.
Do you know what areas you're concentrating on?
Primarily, it is the Semiahmoo, Birch Bay, Blaine areas, and then over on the other side, it's the Laurel and Weiser Lake areas.
You have a question?
I was gonna ask the same thing, what neighborhoods, can we get the July 27th Laurel Grange meeting on the Laurel Station
Yes.
signpost or whatever you call it? Display board?
Yep.
Thank you.
Deputy Fire Marshal report.
Yes, I have two items today.
Okay.
The first one is regarding the water supply that I've mentioned in the past going out to the Semiahmoo area. The single supply line that goes under the channel, looking for a second source. So we did have a successful intertie test with a pump, so we can pump water from the Birch Bay water system up to the Semiahmoo system in case we do have a loss of the water pipe going across the channel. So that test, I guess it was successful. The first one did fail. The pump failed.
Okay.
The motor, I should say. The second one, actually, we got a larger volume of water than we were expecting. So
Did they replace the pump or?
no, there is no pump there currently. They're planning on installing a permanent pump at some point. The current system they have for backup is it's a pump mounted on a trailer, and they bring a generator out with it, and they tie into the Birch Bay system where we actually have a tie that goes from Semiahmoo down to the lower water system at Birch Bay, and we were able to pump up backwards to the system.
Was the pump that failed the same one that succeeded on the second test?
No, they ordered a larger motor and pump.
Okay, good. That's what I was making sure of.
Yeah, the first one ran for about 5 minutes and it just smoked. And I'm not even sure why. So,
Head pressure.
yeah, I don't know, but it didn't meet what we were looking for anyway.
So let's say we had an emergency and we needed to make that happen. What is the time frame to call out, set up, and pump?
They should have it within 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah, now the reservoir at Samiamu is 1 million gallons of water. And they're able to utilize about 2/3 of that water source before it gets down below what's required for fire flow at the 20 PSI. So there is a bit of a, standby water available and fire emergency water available. If they do lose it, you've got a day before the tank runs dry.
If in this dry season, people are all using that water and it drops down to that level, do they automatically pump back into it, or do they just sort of tell people to turn their faucets on?
Well, they'll send out notices to all the residents out there to stop using excessive water because of the failure in the crossing. So they do have a plan in place for that. And then along with that, on July 3rd, there was a electrical failure at the end of the spit at Samiamu near the resort, which also knocked out the booster pumps at the channel where they come across. And there was no notification, so they're working on fixing that problem. And also, I'm working with Public Works currently, and they're trying to get a generator for those pump systems out there, the booster pumps, because there's currently no, quick way to plug into those pumps, and there's no generator available other than the portable one that they drag around, when there's power outages. So they're working right now to get a permanent solution for a generator for backup. And then the next thing, we just implemented a new software program for pre-incident planning. These are just a couple of sheets here, just screenshots. So this pre-fire plan software will be downloaded onto all of the iPads, tablets, and it can be downloaded onto any smartphone. So any one of the employees that are granted access to the program can go onto this program and be able to look up calls and have information for pre-fire planning. Some of the things on here, when you get a call, you click on the My Calls in the upper right-hand corner of the first page there, and it brings up a list of all the calls that are like for the last several weeks, and you just have to kind of scroll through to find which one you're going to. And once you click on it, this screen pops up, and there'll be an outline of the building where you're going to. You click on that, and then down at the bottom of that first page, you'll see all those photos there, the ABC, and that's a screenshot or like a picture of the building you're going to, so you have a good idea of what's all the way around it. We can download like floor plans, and like Commissioner Rickberg, you've mentioned, dilapidated buildings and hazards. We can put great big X's on those buildings or where the hazard would be, and warnings to say do not go in, or if there's a floor that's about to collapse, from an old building, we can mark all that. We can put just about anything we want into this program as far as information. We can have 100 pages of information if we want on each one of these. This program also shows us building information, square footage, what the required flow would be if the building is 100% involved. It shows where all the nearest hydrants are located for that structure. And location, the second page, there's a location of all the utilities. And we just do like an overhead, and then we can add all the utilities and where they're located at that facility. Gas shutoffs, electrical, water, where the FTCs are located, sprinkler riser, fire alarm control panels. The amount of information we put in really is endless.
And this requires companies to go out and gather this information?
Yes. And so yesterday, I had the final training, and so the program is now live. And so what I'll be doing is I'm on vacation starting tomorrow, but when I come back, we're going to try to get all the tablets and phones updated with this program, and I'll start doing a training on, how to go out and do a pre-fire plan or pre-incident plan with all
How
the crews.
many buildings do you think we're talking about?
Hundreds. Yeah, this isn't just for Blaine, this is for all of North
Right,
Wacom. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So currently, do we have pre-fire books?
We have some old ones that are outdated, but I'm not even sure if they're on the engines
They're not
anymore.
on the engines
I mean,
anymore. They're hand drawn.
Yeah,
From like the early 2000s.
So if I
yeah.
pull up to the school and there's a fire in the gym or the kitchen.
Yeah.
Do I have anything to look at right now?
No, we don't. No.
Okay.
So that's just, we've been relying on just going out to the community and just doing walkthroughs and becoming familiar with the buildings and kind of keeping mental notes of where things are located. This will help us narrow down, building numbers. You go to an address and say there's 10 buildings on the address. We don't know which one is A, B, C, D, And so now we'll pull up the overhead here and it will show us which buildings we're going to. We can have unit numbers, 1 through 10 in building A. We can have, 11 through 20. And so it'll shorten the amount of time, going to an incident.
With Bruce having mentioned the schools, have we checked with the different municipal and sheriffs, municipal police and sheriff agencies to see if they have any emergency response planning packets that they've done with the schools? Because they likely would have.
They do.
Yeah,
They do have all those.
that's something that I'm sure they'd be willing to share, so at least we can be prepared for something similar as well.
That would be a good connection to make it. Yep. Because they'll have all the infill and exfill plans and
Okay.
all that kind of
Yeah.
thing. It'll be some different information than what, they're not going to have utilities, but
Yeah.
they will have entrances and exits and that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the
Chemical
sheriff. I know
storage.
Blaine does have a plan, but I'm not sure about the sheriff's office.
Yeah, those would be a great resource to poach off of.
Yeah, and we can put that in there as another page too, that we can open up.
This is great. Thank you.
So. I don't want to get into
Well, so in the past, we did have, when we had, here's the transition from paper map books to computers. When we had paper map books, yes, we did have all those pre-fire plans in there. And what you'd have is when you went to a multiple, a large occupancy or a target hazard, you'd have it in the map book, and then you'd have that ECIP, or not the ECIP, but the pre-fire plan right behind it in the map book. And so we were very used to flip into that page and you can figure out where you're going. As we've gone, now the paper map books are still in the rigs, but we've gone digital. And I think some of the craft has gone away from relying on those things, relying on those paper map books. I'm trying not to use COVID as an excuse, but for a couple of years, businesses we weren't allowed in, we weren't allowed,
Sure.
So the crews are actually have gotten out of the habit of getting into businesses or, walking around doing those things. And so the hope is this will spur that. And we're seeing a lot of, I'm hearing, and I'm sure Fire Marshal Nielsen as well, that with generational changes, the crews want to get out there and do these things. Information. And in the old days, you come back with a clip. Right? Well, it's not a good answer anymore. They want to be able to put the information in somewhere where they know it's going to be.
Yeah. And if we were to have a pre-fire plan for every business in our district, we would have an encyclopedia set in front of
No,
us. So this,
I've seen those books.
yeah, and this is web-based, so it's just your tablet, you just log in and.
Yep.
And all the
No, I
information
think
right
it's
there at your
wonderful.
fingertips.
I'm sure the crews will appreciate it once it's up and running.
And one of my favorite parts of the program is the driving directions.
Okay.
You just 2 buttons you click and it gives you the route. It's so easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that, and I look forward to crews getting out and getting the data collected. I'm sure the BCs will be coordinating that.
And He's here in the city of Blaine.
Cool. Anything else?
Well, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
I would like to add that Fire Marshal Nielsen did send an actual letter to the city of Blaine regarding that July 3rd incident.
Oh, yes.
And the need for the electricity, loss of
failure.
electricity, and the failure of the pumps.
pump down
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Did we get a response from the city?
He just sent it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And he sent it to the city manager, so I just want to put that out there as well, that we're not just letting this happen. He's on it, so.
Perfect. All right. Unfinished business. Birch Bay, phase 1.
As I said in my chief's report, June was kind of a lost month for me, it feels like. But we are making slow progress. There is some, with the application piece to that CPAR board. All I can say is August 6th, we'll know which direction we're headed.
Okay. Station 62. We went out and looked at that, and our bids came in a little higher than we approved. And some pencil sharpening was done. But Chief, why don't you enlighten us on where we're at?
Well, first off, I have to start off with an apology, which appears to be the theme of the day. I forgot to grab something when I left Station 72, so I don't have some of my data. But bottom line is, when the bids were all done for Station 62, first off, the board authorized $250,000, which we put in the budget under capital. And when the bids were all done and everything was tied up, it came back to about $425,000. So Bob Loophole, the contractor, and I met. We sharpened the pencil. And if you, just to kind of go over what we had talked about for the 250, what you'd authorized before was the following or large parts of, and that was to repair the exterior back wall, replace the exterior siding and sheeting where dry rot's located, the porch, replacement of the porch on the second deck, replace the exterior stairs not with wood, replace the apparatus bay doors not with wood, upgrade the HVAC, upgrade all lighting to LED, upgrade the appliances, and restretching the carpet. So after that came in about 425. After sharpening the pencil and going back and looking, kind of triaging what needs to be done right away to make the building, A, stop the damage that we're seeing, and B, habitable. I decided to eliminate the HVAC upgrade. That was almost $100,000 right there. Upgrade the lighting only in the affected rooms, and with the exterior lighting, some exterior flood lighting for ingress and egress of the apparatus bay areas, and changing the bulbs only, not upgrading any fixtures upstairs, just changing the bulbs to LEDs, to hold off on upgrading the appliances, and to not restretching the carpet, but not to the extent that we had put in the initial bid. So that brought it down to about $340,000. A big chunk of that we did get two bids for HVAC work. One was $72,000 and the other one was $96,000. So, and we're just going to hold off on the HVAC. That'll have to happen at a different time. So in spirit of getting things moving and having already been authorized up to $250K, I authorized Bob to go ahead and start the work on the back wall side, the piece that we know is causing damage to the building. I have not authorized him to do anything with the apparatus bay doors or anything that in his dollar by dollar bid, which I profusely apologize for not having in front of me. do anything above that 200, that could lead to above the $250,000 threshold. The action I would request today is that you authorize an additional $100,000 so that we can complete the work that the required work that we can do to, so we can stop. This would allow us to complete all the exterior siding, bring those windows, that large bay of windows up front. It would allow us to bring those up 8 feet off the ground, so there'd be a solid wall up to that point, and it would be sided and look nice, and it would allow us to complete the scaled down bid that Bob and I worked on. Commissioner Ansel we met out there and I showed him that bid. I want to say it came in at $321,000. The best recovery I can do is to ask to authorize an additional $100,000 out of capital facilities so that we can complete the bid minus those kind of larger ticket items, especially the HVAC and some of the niceties. This also, one of the other things we did to drop down the bid was we had discussed the exterior stairs on the back being powder coated aluminum. We've retooled those to have pressure treated wood stringers and expanded metal stairs that can be bolted in, so that none of the wood out there has ever been pressure treated for whatever reason. It's just been put up and then painted. So the hope is the pressure treated would give us a few more years, and then we would have a template. You could basically take the treads out if you had to, if the pressure treated goes away after 10, 15, 20 years, and it could be simply replaced. The porch on the second deck, just so we're not just replacing it, he's actually extending it out 6 inches and then putting a gutter on the end of it, and so drawing the water away, so there won't be any water sitting right above the second deck. There'll actually be a place for it to go as opposed to just sit. Currently demos begun on the porch and in the inside wall, or on that lower wall there. So that is the Station 62 project.
What is the maximum? Is it the new bid?
350K is the max.
Is
the
So
max.
you're asking us.
I'm asking you to go to the max.
that,
Yeah.
Which precludes us from having to go through a bid process.
Correct. Here's the current.
And the money would come from capital reserves.
So capital facilities, which let me capital facilities is currently $1,155,944 is the balance in the capital facilities account.
Commissioner Crawford asked if we could take this out of mitigation funds, and I believe you talked to.
Dr. Richard Davis, it cannot. Only if we are expanding, like for capital facilities to expand services, and it's not August 6th yet.
So.
And we can't use it to repair an existing facility. We could use it if we were going to put
Another bay.
8 more dorm rooms and another apparatus bay on there. But to repair what's there, no.
Highlights the new cost of doing business. I walked around the station with Chief and yeah, we went line item by line item on this. The one concern that we had, if we do house a crew there, there is no air conditioning in that building. but it appears that we could put like a mini split out and run it to those two front bunk rooms.
It-
There is a portable air conditioner in the back window where the dorm bunk room is, which wouldn't necessarily be occupied if we just have two people staffing the station. So we could cool the bunk areas with a mini split, which would be far less expensive than a total HVAC upgrade. If you're wondering about that, but that is a big ticket item to air condition that whole facility.
What was the total? Sorry, Bruce. What was the total bid? 4 or what?
Total bid was like 435. And actually, as I sit here, maybe we should table this till next month, and I'll have it in the board packet so you can look at the actual numbers. That might be, yeah. He's not gonna hit 250K by this time next month, and I'm starting to feel like that would be a more comfortable piece for me. I don't want to. I'm starting to get uncomfortable with just not having the data that I should have brought. I really apologize.
It's all right. I actually would like to be able to look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not comfortable asking for that for 100K for an ambiguous number that I can't recall off the top of my head.
My other concern, and I don't think anyone here is going to love it, is, we've gone up just, 40% in the cost in a very short period of time from our initial estimations.
Correct.
So if we don't do all of the necessary repairs, are we going up another 40% on the split difference of $200,000 and then paying $240,000 when we could have potentially avoided that by doing everything earlier and saving future generation headaches? And I certainly know this is a tenuous time for money, but I'm concerned about setting us up for more financial hardship by not taking care of what needs to be taken care of now. I don't know the state of the appliances there and the upgrades that are needed. I don't know if these appliances are still functional or breaking down or usable. I don't know the status of the HVAC upgrade and if the HVAC there is going to die soon. I mean, it's old.
It was assessed by both companies, and they said based on the age, they would recommend replacing the whole thing.
I mean, these are considerations I think we should talk about as a board and make sure. I know the other consideration is the maximum amount of money you can do with this, contractor without going out to bid, and that creates another headache. So there's several layers of headache here.
Right.
All right, so the chief has recommended we table this issue, but go ahead and start on the damage repairs.
Yeah, the damage repairs need.
Which
Yep.
have to be done regardless.
Correct.
And then as far as what else gets added to this, I don't know that we ever had a firm line item bid when we approved the 250. That was a best guess, or was that?
It was a best guess.
Yeah, and then when we went out to subs and got all the numbers kind of in hard format, of course it came in at like 125.
Well, the best guess was an educated guess coming from
a contractor.
a contractor, which is why I have faith in it. And
Yep.
I'm a little surprised at a very short period of time how much it went up. So
Have you ever replaced the roof?
once.
He was shocked, and I could tell he was visibly uncomfortable during the meeting. He was not ready for those numbers to be what they were.
Well, that's a lesson learned for us as well then. And we
Yep.
need to see the
I've
numbers.
learned a lot in
Yeah.
this.
Well, it's like fire apparatus, right?
Yeah.
They're not 650 anymore, they're 1.2 million.
Well, this was a very short turnaround though.
All right, so, with your recommendation, there will be no action on this. We will wait for more info in our packet. And, we'll probably have an answer on our levy lift by then as well. Jenny, there's a SRA staffing question. Did you write down here? Or
That was
last night?
more
No.
for me.
Okay.
And it's in regards to an email that I got, and I had shared with you about, there have been some questions from those in the Semiahmoo community about essentially wanting a guarantee from the district that if the levy passes, we will staff Station 62. And the best, I replied to the email. I spoke with Commissioner Ansel, replied to the email, and basically said that we can't give a guarantee. The best we can do is show you what words are on public record, which is where the board has showed every intention of staffing Station 62. We also have to compete with the labor market and the training pipeline and how long it takes to train and hire people, retention within our own department. And so I can't tell you that on January 1, 2025, I'm going to have firefighters in that station. It's a multi-year project. My estimation is it would take 18 to 24 months to get that station on a routine schedule once the voters authorize the levy lid lift. But that's the best I can do. And the person that reached out to me seemed okay with that. She understood that that's the best we can do. So that's where the SRA staffing question came from.
And I'm wondering if part of it was, hey, if we could tell the people that this is going to be staffed on this day, then that might help the vote rather than being a threat. Hey, if you don't give us this information, we're not going to support the levy. I think it was more of, this would really help if we knew, and we don't.
Yeah, and that's where my thought process on strategic planning would come into play. Laid out there that in our strategic plan, we have at 18 to 24 months, the expectation of this. And it's just a set of priorities that the community will be able to understand where the department is heading.
Right.
It's a timeline, not specific to anyone.
All right. Anything else under unfinished business? I mean, it's nice that the Semiahmoo Association is being engaged in the levy lid lift questions and staffing, and even the gentleman last night who questioned about his homeowner's insurance and staffing and distance to a fire station were germane to why we're asking for this levy lid lift.
Right.
And the projected growth in that area surrounding Semiahmoo and Horizon, et cetera, is driving the need for more staff in that area. New business, the surplus hose. Resolution 2024-05 is a resolution to declare some hose that's no longer usable as surplus. So I will entertain a motion for that resolution, and then I'll give you background. Moved and seconded. Last year, I was approached by the Birch Bay Chamber to see if we could loan them some hose that we don't use as frontline that's been put out of service so that they can fill their barrels that hold down the tents for their activities in the future park area. I don't know if we as a department in the past have gone out and flowed any water for them for those purposes or not, but they made that request again this year, and I asked the chief if we had anything, and went up to Station 63, and we found some hose that is no longer usable for combat firefighting. I asked if we could surplus those and make a donation to the chamber so that they can fill their barrels without having to call the fire department to do them. So that's the notion of this. It's hose that's, in fact, we found some hose that actually didn't even belong to us. That was no longer serviceable, which isn't in this resolution, but, and then I made a verbal commitment to the Birch Bay Chamber that we would be addressing this, and I would deliver said equipment to them that they can keep forever in perpetuity and fill their barrels as needed. Which they do then work with Birch Bay Water and Sewer, and they put a meter on the hydrant, and it's not like they're stealing water from the fire.
Dumb, ignorant question here. Is there any liability with those hoses and giving them to them for that
Not
use?
once they own them.
Okay.
If we owned them and loaned them, yes, but if it becomes their property, then no.
Copy that.
Good question.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? It's unanimous, thank you. I will make sure that the chamber, can I, when we're done, can I get a copy of this and then I'll just give that to them?
Sure.
Yeah. No reason. Shift captain job description reclassification. I thought we had gone through this once already, but basically in our packet was just verbiage, word changes. Any place that said lieutenant now says captain. There was no change to pay. There was no change to responsibilities. All it was a name change.
Yeah.
So do we need?
No, it was just there for information.
Okay. So just FYI, we now have captains instead of lieutenants. And that aligns better with our surrounding jurisdictions. Everybody's happy, yes?
Yes. The only wage piece you'll see highlighted in that page is it calls out what we're calling, what the union and us are calling a legacy captain wage for anybody that was a captain prior to the reclassification, because those people would make, we're not going to reduce their pay. If they were captains before, they stay at the captain rank until everything catches up.
So ultimately, over time, they will.
Correct. It'll compress and they'll all make the same wage.
Fair enough. Any other new business? Correspondence is in your packet. Next meeting is August 15th, which we should know the results from the levy left on. Is everyone available on August 15th?
The only reason I wouldn't be is if I end up having surgery.
Oh, come on, I'll come get you.
I can do it from,
Your hospital bed.
yeah, from home on some type of painkiller.
I'll bring this back.
I appreciate that.
Everyone has said yes, but they maybe allegedly. We'll hook you up. All right, next.
Commissioner Hensel, I have one good of the order, just real quick if I could. So yesterday, we were told that the Blaine Chamber has selected North Wacom Fire and Rescue as the member of the month for July. So we are going to be featured in the next Northern Light under the member of the month. There'll be a little bio about us. Just if you want to know. We're the member of the month.
We bring so much revenue into this city.
Comes.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Chief.
That's what Jenny told me. She's like, congratulations. I'm like, whoop.
Very exciting.
Thank you.
It's good news.
Membership has its benefits.
Yeah.
That was kind of them. All the publicity we can get right now is much appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay, next meeting. We're gonna keep 63 on there, we're gonna keep 62 on there. I would like to have a discussion on future planning, what's the right word? Meeting. Because we'll know what the levy is, so we're either gonna plan for greatness or we're gonna plan for survival.
Kind of like a
Just a
study
smaller
session.
version of
Yeah.
greatness.
Study session, planning session, whatever, and I'm thinking it's gonna be probably a weekend, unfortunately, for staff.
They'll come with dates.
We'll have a discussion, but yeah, I'd say people, look at your calendars a little bit and, or at least we'll introduce it then and, I'm thinking probably October, November. I think we all need to sit in the same room and decide where we go from here, one way or another. And the strategic planning piece is obviously an important component.
Do we want to bring the district commissioners along?
If they'll show up. We could invite them. Sure. Thank you. I agree. So we'll put it on the agenda for looking for dates and ideas and then throw it up before. Maybe we could put that on, I hate to put stuff on their agenda, but maybe that could be talked about at their next meeting that we're thinking about doing this, and if they would be available, that would be awesome. We need to have an executive session under RCW 42.30.110 subsection G to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. It is 11:30. Yeah, so let's take a 5-minute break and then 15 minutes, 20?
15.
Matt's here, 20.
Okay.
You were the one that talked more.
All right, we'll reconvene after your executive session. There is no further business before the board. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned, we got documents to sign.